You've got 3 divisions and an awful lot of tournaments planned for this year. How are you going to keep those pro players interested,
well,
or at least even showing up?
I mean, it's not realistic. So you're going to go to different things. And I haven't even called Rocky yet up in the Northwest, and I hope that he'll be on board for the Northwest events. But you got to kind of pick and choose, and that's how it's going to be. So maybe one of the Southern Cal events, everyone will be there, but other ones you're just going to have pick and choose as they go. And that's just how it's going to be. I mean, I'll be at all the events, and Camille and Travis, they'll be at all the events, but the pro players will pick and choose as they can available to them. That's the nature of the beast.
How are you going to stop sandbagging in this league? Because it's a beginner league and a lot of your teams are probably going to be trying tournament paintball for the first time. How are you going to keep it from Travis Lemansky jumping on the field with a gun?
Well, there's 2 ways. So number 1 is the lowest division is a no battery division and limited paint. So one, you're keeping the sandbagging out by limiting the equipment in the paint. So it means they can't have a battery in the gun and they can only use 200 rounds per game. So that's how I started back in the GWS days. And that's how you can go from a rec ball player into a tournament player more affordably, is do that. So here's a beginner division for those guys, have their spiders, have their Titmans, have their low-end markers, that want to play in tournament. Here's a way to do it. And you only need to play against other people with the same type of markers. So I think that's the number 1 way of sandbagging, of catching up.
Do you think that's going to keep a team from getting a good player to play with bad equipment?
Well, okay, that's just the first step, obviously. So then the second step is we have all the data from the last XPSLs, NPPLs for the last 3 seasons. So we have all that in the works, and the company that was contracted to do that for Pacific Paintball, owns all that data because Pacific Paintball defaulted on the contract with the company. So that's who we are now contracting with to, make sure that if you've played XPSL, NPPL, in the last 3 years, that we're going to catch you. And I mean, more importantly than NPPL and PSP classifications are XPSL, because this is a West Coast league. We really are not worried as much about if you played D1 NPPL. We're worried about whether you played intermediate or novice in the XPSL, because those are the people we're catering to, and those are the people we want to make sure they stay out of those lower divisions of the RPL.
All right, coming up on the end of our time here.
Sure.
So I'm going to kind of give you the floor here. I'm going to ask you 2 questions.
Okay.
It's almost like my Lipton part of the paintball studio. Okay.
Right,
what is your biggest regret from being at the helm of the NPPL?
Yeah, a lot of people ask that. I think my biggest regret is from day 1, we didn't have a high-end financial person like a CEO type person from 2 years ago. And if I would have known that the investors wanted that connection and want that company through, instead of just backing Shawn Walker, the president, we didn't bring in the CEO till year 2, who was going to handle more of the investor relations and those type of things. I wish on that first day that there would have been me and the MBA Harvard guy right next to us side by side, and that person could handle all the business, accounting, numbers, crunching things, and I could handle the paintball stuff. And I think if that would have happened, there wouldn't have been as ugly breakup we had this last.
You still
year.
think the ship would have sunk?
It still would have sunk, but at least it wouldn't have been as ugly, and it would have been. I could have kept my name more clean and out of all those things, and he could have made sure, he or she could have made sure that was happening. And me running events for so long, thinking that's all we're doing here is running events at the NPPL, we weren't. We were just doing too much more, trying to put too much a big a company, and I couldn't do both roles, and I couldn't. And so that's my only regret in this role of the company is wishing that we could have started from a different spot at that point. And maybe a lasting regret is just someone like Bruce Friedman, who's just a very ethical, good business person from the outside the industry, and I'm sorry that he's soured to our sport now, and he's not going to be in paintball anymore. We had a good relationship. It was solid all the way until the last few months there when the ship was going down, and I wish that more people like him would get more involved in our sport. And I think now we're going to have to ride that wave of little to no outside support and support ourselves within while we build back up. What
are you most proud of in your time as president?
Yeah, I was proud on delivering these events. Time after time after time. In 2007, we did 10 high-end, high-quality events. In 2008, another 10 high-end, high-quality events. And I think any of the issues going on behind the scenes were unseen by the public and the player paying their fee to have a good experience. And I'm proud that we put on so many good events, that these kids and these players, that they paid their fee, they got what they paid for, and it's a good feeling feeling. It's a good feeling. I love getting the emails and the calls after events where they got 74th place and they said, we had such a good time, Shawn. We shot one guy on that 5th game, and it just was a great experience. And to be able to increase my scope of influence, which before was arguably mostly West Coast space, and now is, could be worldwide, and then from friends and the relationships that I've made, is now propelled me into my next role in our industry of what I am doing now. And I'm just proud of that. I'm proud of those relationships and to keep it strong. And no matter how much negativity is out there, like for each one negative comment you see on a forum site, I get 5 to 6 emails that are positive afterwards. And they all tell me, Shawn, this was read about you. We're so upset. Like, you guys, it's okay. There's a lot of negativity out there, and I'm just really proud of those relationships.
That's the RPL.com. You're Shawn Walker, and you're the president.
That's it.
And I want to thank you for coming out. I'm Don with Splat XD.